We'd like to get started with the November 16th Constables Education and Training Board meeting. If I could call the meeting to order at this time, I would like everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today, before we start the staff and board introductions, I would also like to recognize a new appointment to the Constables Education and Training Board. Constable Craig Westover is here joining us today. However, he cannot sit on the board. He has to take his oath of office, but he was appointed as of October 10th, I believe was the official date. So
14th.
14th.
14th of this month.
Oh.
November 14th.
Oh, yeah, November 14th.
I got a call Tuesday afternoon. I was confirmed with the Senate, and John called me Wednesday and congratulated us at the meeting tomorrow.
And just,
well, you will be sitting up here with the other board members at the February meeting.
and I will mention Craig has been a board member from 2000 to 2003 previously, so he's familiar with the workings of the board and the agency, and so that'll help a lot.
Yes. So there's one down. A couple more to go. Tracy, if we could start with staff introductions, please.
Tracy Klauser, CETB staff.
Bill Winter, MDJ, Dauphin County.
Greg Ruddick, Commissioner, Indiana County.
Sherry Leffler, Constables Education and Training Board.
Bill White, Pennsylvania State Police.
Julie Sokoloff, Pennsylvania State Constable, Montgomery County.
John Fowl, PCCD.
Beth Romero, PCCD.
And at this time, I would like to ask if any of the current board members would volunteer to chair today's meeting.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, please do so.
Today is Julie's last meeting, and I would think it would be appropriate for you to go out on a high note and take ownership of this committee for one time.
I did it last time too.
But I want to make sure I got ahead of you on this.
Oh, yeah. It would be my pleasure. I even turned on my mic. Turn on your mic. Okay, so we called the meeting to order. We got a volunteer to chair.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
The next item is to approve the minutes from the August 17th meeting. Do we have any corrections, additions, changes from the board?
So moved.
Second.
Take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next item. Financial report. Are you going to do that? Are you Beth?
Yes.
Beth, take it away.
Okay, the fiscal report for the first quarter of 17-18 state fiscal year is found on pages 7 through 11. Under receipts, the balance carried forward from the previous fiscal year was $2,767,345.05. Fees collected in the first quarter were $446,829.50. Total funds available as of September 30th, 2017 were $4,505,040.05. Under expenditures and commitments, cumulative expenditures as of September 30th, 2017 were $632,769.67. The total cumulative expenditures and commitments as of September 30th were $4,152,409.15, and that includes $286,916.41 in administrative expenditures and commitments. The breakdown of those are found on page 9. The total uncommitted funds as of September 30th, 2017 is $352,630.90.
Okay. Who will take care of the other sheets that we need to go over? Do you do it?
They're just there.
They're just there for informational purposes.
Those were,
Got it.
that's a lot of backup documentation to the fiscals that over time we provided.
The administrative cost breakdown, the constable fee collection breakdown, and the projections.
All right, so I guess we'll go on to new instructor certifications. Sherry, you gonna
Before we do that, we need a motion to approve.
We need a motion to approve
The fiscal report.
Fiscal report.
So moved.
Second.
Vote. Aye. Nays? So passed. Remember. Okay, now we can do new certifications.
Yes, and Tracy's gonna handle the instructor certifications.
Go Trace.
We have a total of 7 instructors, 4 for Temple and 3 for Penn State. The first one is Matthew Cresta, and he's been requesting topics of certification of general communication and firearms. He is currently a retired police officer in corporate security of Lockheed Martin. He has associates in criminal justice, bachelor's in organizational management. He's got 21 years of law enforcement with 17 years of instructional experience, with the last instructional assignment of being a firearms instructor, New York City, NYC Sheriff's Department, active shooter course. His other certifications are PSP firearms instructor, certified instructor OC, active shooter, certified instructor, accident reconstruction, and crisis intervention specialist. Staff recommends his board approval for the above topics that he's requested. Second Temple instructor is Howard Giles. He's requesting topics of general communication and firearms. He is a firearms instructor, FLETC in Defense Intelligence Agency, Bachelor's of Arts in Criminal Justice from Hamilton University, 37 years of law enforcement experience with 35 years of instructional experience. The last instructional assignments was the Defense Intelligence Agency as well as NRA firearms. Certifications are Defense Intelligence firearms certification, Act 235, and the NRA firearms. As well, staff recommends board certification for Howard Giles for the general communication and firearms topics. For Temple, Christopher Prout, he is currently certified in physical skills. He's requesting general. He is Department of Justice, Office of the Inspector General. He's a special agent. His master's degree in criminal justice with 8.5 years of law enforcement experience and 8 years of instructional experience. He is a current regional control tactic instructor for the Office of Inspector General. Other certifications include law enforcement control tactics from June 2015, and then law enforcement control tactics in March of 2009. Staff also recommends board certification for Christopher Prout for the general topic. The last Temple instructor is Michael Yetter. He is currently certified in general and physical skills and is looking to be certified in firearms. He is currently a police officer with the Allentown Police Department. He has a bachelor's degree with 6 years of law enforcement experience and 3 years of instructional experience. His last instructional assignment includes current defense tactics, physical fitness, firearms, general and special instructor at Allentown Police Academy, and he's also a full-time firearms instructor for the Allentown Police Academy. Current certifications and other qualifications is protective safety systems, control tactics, instructor certification in MOPEC, and he's also PSP firearms instructor certification. Staff recommends board certification for Michael Yetter. Moving on to Penn State, we have first instructor Gerald Edgreen. He's requesting topics for general and communication. His current occupation is U.S. Secret Service. He has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, 9 years of law enforcement experience, and 4 years of instructional. He is a field training officer physical fitness assessments instructor, and a defensive tactics instructor. Has certifications in U.S. Secret Service, Essentials of Instruction course, and EMT basic certification. Staff also recommends board certification for Gerald Ed Green for general and communications topics. The next instructor is Robert Harford Jr. for general and firearm. He is currently a police officer with the Fairfax County Police Department. He has a bachelor's in administration of justice, 24 years of law enforcement experience with 20 years of instructional experience. He's a firearms instructor for the Fairfax County Police Department. And he also contains NRA firearms instructor for handgun and shotgun, and also patrol rifle. Staff recommends board certification for Robert Harford in general and firearms. The last instructor for Penn State is Brandon Rourke, requesting topics of general, communication, and firearms. He is currently a police officer with the Wilkinsburg Police Department. He has 11 years of law enforcement experience, 3 years instructional experience, and he's currently a firearms instructor with the Wilkinsburg Police Department. He has PSP firearms instructor, and he's also a certified instructor with lethal weapons. Staff recommends board certification for Brandon Rourke for general communications and firearms.
Does anyone have any questions about any of these candidates? May I have a motion to approve them as a group?
So moved.
Was that a second?
Yep.
Vote?
Aye.
Nays? Passes, motion passes. Okay, who's doing the next item?
I'll do this.
Okay. So Sherry's gonna talk about costs of attending constable classes for those who don't go. Right.
Well, yeah, that would, this would be in reference to no-shows and failures for classes. The last time that the program staff have looked at the charges, the amounts that we charge for classes for no-shows and failures was back in 2010. So we went back through and we looked at, some of them were increased from the 2010 costs, and some were decreased from those costs as well. And as you can see from the chart, I'll just go down through these really briefly. The basic training will be an increase to $890. That's a $273 increase from the 2010 charge. Basic firearms is going down to $725, and that is a decrease of $399 from the 2010 charges. Continuing education, $225, and we would break that down. It would be $11.25 per module hour that would either be missed or that would be missed, basically. And that's a $104 increase from the 2010 charges. Annual firearms is increasing to $410, and that's a $44 increase. Optional training is $170, and that is a $64 decrease. These numbers are based on an average of the actual invoice cost for these training type classes in state fiscal year 16 and 17. So that's how we came up with those amounts. Any questions on any of the increased costs? And these would be effective beginning 2018 training year.
And this is for anyone who wants to attend on their own.
This would be for
Like,
any no-shows or failures.
That's it.
Correct.
I mean, don't we have something in place for some reason if someone wants to take the class?
Nope, you have to be a
Yeah.
constable in office in order to take the classes. And then they're free. This would only be in instances of no-shows or
Okay.
failures. Any questions on these?
Do we need to have a motion to approve these increases?
Yes, ma'am.
Any motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Good.
Okay, in discussion, just a question. I mean, if you look at the numbers, significant decrease on basic firearms. Can you sort of tell us what that might be as a result?
I'd say, Commissioner, one of the other things too is, the big difference too is budgeting and invoicing. We've gotten a lot over the last couple of years because of costs. Staff has worked with the contractors in really reducing costs on what's really necessary running classes what do we really need to, what costs are truly associated with that. We've even continued to break down. They give us we have a very detailed budget format that they have to submit their invoices in. And we've continued to refine that. So,
Just stuck out a little bit, so thanks.
That was a big decrease. That was.
Okay, so can we call the motion to a vote? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Good job. The next action item will be the Act 233 stipend payments for the training year 2017. As you can see from the documentation, the last budget time that we did this training stipends was in training year 2008, and there have been no stipends approved by the board or the commission since that time. This is a yearly action item that we have to bring before the board, and it was requested previously that it be brought to the board each year rather than doing like a blanket statement until monies were available. So based upon the current status, we're pretty aware of what that status is of the Constables Education and Training Act Fund account. Staff is recommending that no payments be made under the Act 233 stipend payments for training year 2017.
We will need a motion put forth.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Call for a vote. Aye. Nays?
And it does incorrectly state on the bottom there that it would be and each subsequent training year. That is incorrect. It would just be for training year 2017. On the bottom of page 20.
This is just the current training.
Yeah. And it says and each that's incorrect. That should have been taken off.
Okay. So make sure it's in the
The minutes
The
is just
minutes
for
to
training year
reflect
2017.
exactly that the board has passed that just for 2017 we will not have funds to refund constables for training purposes.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item says discussion items, but I don't know what those are.
There are none.
Then there are none.
There are none.
Okay. Then
Unless there's anything that the board would like to bring up at this time.
anything the board would like to bring up at this time. We're a good board. Okay, Sherry, are you doing the status of certification?
Yes, I'll just review these very quickly. As of October 30th of 2017, there were 1,274 constables and deputy constables who are currently listed as active and certified. Of those, we had 1,042 or 82% of that population were also certified to carry a firearm in the performance of their constable duties. Since the inception of the program in 1996, there have been a total of 4,502 individuals who either successfully completed the basic training or completed and passed the waiver examination and were certified by the board. The next information item is just the normal update on the SET system. Again, as of October 30th, 2017, there are currently 1,582 active registered constables and deputy constables who are users in the SET system. A total of 1,208 active and certified constables and deputy constables are SET users, which is about 95% of the current active and certified constable population. We also have 1,091 who have chosen email as their preferred correspondence method. And we also have 492 who are sharing their personal information in the SET system with other constables. Any questions on the SETS update?
It's up a teeny bit.
The next informational item is an update that we provide on an annual basis of all the training grievances. The F-49 training grievances that were filed with the program. And I'll just go through these very briefly, just the synopsis that I've given there. Just number one, this grievance was filed in relation to a class no-show absence. Program staff's investigation revealed that there was no attempt to notify the training delivery contractor or the 6 instructors that had been stated in the grievance. The constable showed up for the first night of the training and failed to show for the 5 remaining dates, and no follow-up was made by the constable to the training delivery contractor. Therefore, that no-show absence remained. The second grievance filed was in relation to a class no-show absence as well. Program staff investigation revealed that there was a miscommunication between the training delivery contractor and the constable, and that no-show absence was changed to an excused absence in the system. A grievance filed in relation to a failure at an annual firearms class. Program did an investigation, and we concluded that the constable was under extreme stress due to a recent loss of his father-in-law and also the family dog, which the family dog had died that day. And because of that, due to those mitigating circumstances, the failure was changed to an excused absence, and we did permit that constable to go back and attend another annual firearms class then. The fourth grievance filed in relation to a class no-show absence. The investigation revealed that it could not be verified either way whether or not the class confirmation letter was either sent or delivered to the constable. Due to those mitigating circumstances, that no-show absence was reversed to an excused absence. And the fifth grievance was filed in relation to instructor conduct during a continuing education class. Program staff had already investigated this incident prior to the grievance being filed, and the instructor in question was informed that he would no longer be instructing for that training delivery contractor or for the program. And no other information was ever received back by the grievant then. Any questions on any of those training grievances? Okay, and then Tracy's going to do the next item for us.
Next item is the law enforcement training waiver applications update. As of August 27, 2017, staff had processed a total of 3 law enforcement training waiver applications, and the applications were reviewed and approved by the Constables Training Program at PCCD in compliance with the board's regulations on the waivers of training. First, out of those 3, 2 took the waiver exam and passed. The first was Gary Cutney's out of Allegheny County. He passed on February 17th and is currently certified. And the second constable is Joseph Asadko out of Westmoreland County, and he is passed the waiver exam on June 26th and is currently certified. Out of the 3, 1 waiver application has been approved. However, the person has not scheduled to take the waiver exam. Any questions on the law enforcement training waiver application?
Is Ted going to make a presentation now?
Yes, and then we have Mr. Ted Mellors joining us today from Penn State Fayette. He is going to go over the 2018 continuing education courses with us and just give you a high-level review of what's going to happen next year.
Very good.
It's all you, Ted.
Good morning. As Sherry and Joey said, I want to go over the courses for continuing education for 2018. Start initially with vehicle operations and prisoner transport. And you can see by the course description that this is a 4-hour block of instruction. And of course, it's all classroom didactic based. The learning objectives for this course is that upon conclusion of the course, the constable will be able to identify and cite the laws and rules regarding constable vehicles. And specifically, of course, we'll get into Title 75 and the rules promulgated by the Supreme Court in June of 2013. They'll also be able to recognize safe vehicle operation standards, identify the key standards for safety and security of prisoner transport, identify and recognize the factors that can cause prisoner transports to go wrong, plan for and execute prisoner transports in a safe and appropriate manner, and finally they'll be able to explain the actions that should be taken if the prisoner escapes or if other problems during a transport exist. The breakdown for the course is constable vehicles for 45 minutes, safe vehicle operations also for 45 minutes, prisoner transports for 45 minutes. We'll also cite some past incidents of the last couple of years, handling emergencies and escapes for an hour and 15 minutes, and finally our review and examination for 30 minutes for a 4-hour block of instruction. We'll talk about several course case laws, including Silver Spring Township versus Commonwealth. And if you remember, there is where the court said a constable is not a governmental or a quasi-governmental entity under the vehicle code, and consequently that constable is not exempt from paying the vehicle registration fee. We'll also talk about case law, Office of Constable versus Department of Transportation, and that is where the court said constables have circumcised authority that does not include acquiring or entitling vehicles for municipal government. We'll also talk about Commonwealth versus Rodriguez, where the court decided that private vehicles of Pennsylvania constables traditionally are not recognized as statute as privileged official vehicles. And finally, Commonwealth versus Roos, where the court said under the Motor Vehicle Code, a constable's private automobile does not fit within the definition of an emergency vehicle under Title 75. Other course features, we have, of course, we always try to incorporate interactive multimedia instructional components, and we have several, including required vehicle equipment and logs and documentation. We have a recommended vehicle equipment handout, a vehicle pre-operation checklist. We also have a OSHA safe driving practices for employees handout, and a couple of articles and videos that are appropriate for prisoner transport. The next course is also a 4-hour block of instruction, also classroom-based, court security. The objective for this course is to explain the legal and ethical responsibilities of the constable with respect to court security. Additionally, the constable will be able to discuss the importance of the role of security in the functioning of courts and the protection of persons involved. Thirdly, they'll be able to demonstrate a thorough knowledge of standard court security principles and practices. Fourth, they'll be demonstrating knowledge of the events and or actions that constitute a threat to court security and of the constable's actions and decisions required by such circumstances. And finally, under learning objectives, the constable will be able to develop a security survey using a sample checklist and questions provided. The breakout is 20 minutes for introductions, 20 for legal authority and ethical considerations, 25 for security and protection of the court, 40 minutes for standard court security principles, an hour for court security survey development, 45 minutes for case studies, and then 30 minutes for review and examination. Course features, we have Administration Office of Pennsylvania Courts Physical Security Checklist, a threat assessment matrix, a video on why court security, Pennsylvania Court Security and Safety Manual handout, a Terry Frisk update and Terry Stop update handouts, and 2 videos, one on concerns with court security and one on changes in court security. The final classroom course is off-duty decisions. Off-duty decisions is also a 4-hour block of instruction, classroom instruction. Upon the conclusion of this course, the constable will be able to understand the 5 states of mental awareness, prepare himself or herself mentally for an off-duty incident. Constables will also be made aware of ways to ensure physical preparedness. They'll be able to recognize when a constable is off-duty. They'll be able to recognize and assess the various types of encounters. They'll also be able to consider the factors that will impact the decision whether to engage or not. They'll also be educated on how to educate his or her family on what actions they should take when the constable decides to engage in an off-duty incident. And finally, they'll be able to decide when it's appropriate to carry a firearm. The breakdown for that class is 5 minutes introduction, 30 minutes on mental and physical preparedness, an hour 20 minutes on the off-duty encounter, 20 minutes on should I carry a firearm off-duty, 45 minutes on criminal and civil liability, 30 minutes on scenario activity, and then 30 minutes on course review and examination. Course features include case law. We have 4 or 5 different cases to review, an essay by Dave Grossman, video off-duty planning, discussion on PH Crimes Code, Title 2, and in an interview and video of Constable William Jackson. If you remember, that was like 3 years ago in Pittsburgh. He unfortunately had a lethal encounter with his girlfriend's brother off duty, and we have Willie talking about that experience. Defensive tactics will continue to be 8 hours. Some of the new things that we have this year to talk about is the force concepts, demonstrating unbalancing concepts. They'll also be able to this year demonstrate handgun retention techniques. Also properly communicate and issue appropriate verbal commands. Also included this year is the demonstration of kick strikes and the intercepting block. And finally, they have to participate in training scenarios. Here's a breakdown: 10 minutes introduction, 30 minutes lecture, 10 minutes warm up, hour and 40 minutes for unbalancing concept, 30 minutes for handgun retention, hour for kick strikes and intercepting block, and then 3 hours and 30 minutes for the scenario training, and then finally to wrap up a review and written examination. And if you remember, we have a 3-year pattern that within 3 years we review the entire basic program, and this is year 2 of 3 years, and then like I said, we'll concentrate on kicking, striking, and handgun retention. Any questions for me?
And I'd also just like to point out for the board, there was also a handout provided, Safe Vehicle Operations handout, that will be provided to all constable participations this year during both the Con Ed and the basic training classes.
Forgot, sorry. We need to go into executive session, so I must ask everyone to vacate the room for a few minutes. I have to have a motion to go into executive.
Second.
Vote.
Aye.
All right, now we are in executive session.
Thanks.
Stupid parliamentary.
Let's go. Good yourself. All right. Good.
And now we move on to public voice. Would anyone like to make comments? Constable Quinn, please stand.
How you doing?
State
Ernie
your
Klein,
name.
Quinn, State
and where you're from.
Constable in Center County and also with Pennsylvania Fraternal Order of Constables. A couple things. First off, just from what we saw in the PowerPoint presentation for the upcoming Con Ed, prisoner transport, where cases are going to be used as instruction tools. I know that at least about the first 3 cases, maybe all 4, but at least the first 3 cases, they're still active. They're under appeal and everything like that. I don't think that it would be good business to try to bring those things up during the class while these things are still ongoing then, because they are currently under appeal. So you might want to take that into consideration there.
I know, but
Good.
it's standing law until it's reversed. I mean, we just went through this with this Ricker ruling that the Supreme Court just handed down. Ricker was the law as written by the Superior Court until it was reviewed by the Supreme Court and changed. I mean, we can't not recognize law while it's under appeal.
How about other
Many
cases?
are upheld.
How about other cases that are also that fulfill the same obligation, not those 3 specific cases? Because those 3 specific cases, like I said,
Yes, sir. I don't.
they're recent and they're still undergoing and stuff like that.
I don't know the cases we're talking about.
Right.
But again, if there's already been.
If we want to argue the law, let's argue the law with other cases, not something that's already been settled and done, and it's not in the middle still. How about, we can still emphasize the law and where it stands right now with other previous cases.
And were these? I mean, are these?
They're common. I mean, they're case law. They're active.
Are they
Like
superior?
you said,
Are they
that's the key thing,
superior
they're
court?
active.
Or
Superior Court.
Superior court. So
They're
And when they
Get ready
get
to go
going,
to-
we'll
to that
address
level
it.
and stuff
If they
like
would
that.
happen beforehand, we interject that and bring everybody up to speed, but they are current case laws that hold.
My
true.
point exactly, they're current right now.
Right.
They're active
So
right
we
now.
we
So
can't
they should.
speculate on the future.
But again, it's because they're current and active. I don't think it'd be good business because it puts a lot of taint into what's
can
going
rely
on
on
with
statute, case
the
laws,
appeal.
rules, and
It
regs.
could taint what's going on with the appeal procedures.
Okay, it's been noted.
All right. And then the instruction on off-duty decisions. Number one, constable's not off-duty. There is no distinguishing time of off-duty. There is no definition for off-duty.
As the training provider and state certifying agency, from our perspective, is we train you to work for the courts.
Exactly.
So this module is essentially when
So
you're
you-
now working for the court.
So basically, if you want to change it for semantics sake, as far as being at times not working for the courts, no problem. But as far as off duty and stipulating that these are the actions that should be taken when a constable is supposedly off duty, there is none, because if we are called upon an agency to come and respond, even while we're on site there and stuff, I agree with things as far as like with family and stuff is concerned.
That's what it addresses.
Okay,
It
but-
addresses, when
But
you're.
as far as defining it as off duty, because again, like you said, we train for the courts here. We don't train for the other aspects of the constable's duties. And again, that's up to the constable's office of when they're off duty and stuff like that. So for us to classify when an constable is off duty, I think it's presumptuous and oversteps the bounds of this body right here. And then the last thing I would ask is, as far as these meetings go, until we get more constables for stronger voices, because right now we do have a lack of constable voices on the board. Realize we've had that. I'm no sweat against you. That's why I'm saying that we don't have any, because we do have constable voice in Julie here. But the thing is that I know that Julie is looking for when replacements come on down as well. Until we get replacements down, maybe to put pressure on the governor's office as well. I don't see a reason why we should keep on having these meetings if there's not going to be a good constable, strong
We're
constable.
required by the act. The board has to meet 4 times a year.
And the act also stipulates that there should be 3 constables on the board too. So again, we're already going against the act.
Well,
So if you're looking for cost savings as well, if you're not having the meetings, you're saving money there too. But then it would force the governor's office to say, okay, let's get some people down there and stuff and appoint it and everything.
and again, as I've said before, that is for, our acting executive director has talked to the appointments, and I'll tell you, across the board, other state agencies, a lot of boards, the deputy sheriff boards is in the same boat. They got vacancies expired, and that's, the governor's prerogative. But we have been talking to them and saying, look, if we don't have one person show, we can't be functional. They're very aware of that. Right now, there are 2 other nominations sitting on the Senate, and so call your senator, have them take action on the nominations. I mean, that's I can't do that as in my position.
But we've been in this position for how many years now? Where we only had we haven't had three constables on the board. And
You're free to contact the
and like you
governor's
said,
office.
it basically makes us non-functioning.
Right, and again, I put this back, for 22 years I've said to constables, this is your profession, this is your job. And this board is limited in our state, role as to what we can and can't do. There's nothing that stops you guys from sending a letter to the governor's office saying, hey, we really need some help.
Letters have been sent.
Right.
And we're waiting for a decision too.
Okay, and
But I'm just saying, until then.
but the board has to meet.
Statutorily, we have to meet 4 times a year.
Right.
And as far as it's specific within the act as well that we must have 4 members as a quorum. It does not specifically say that you have 3 constable members and the commissioner. It's just the quorum. So as long as we have a quorum of 4, we can hold the board meeting.
Any other comments? Sir, your name? Your
Good morning,
name?
folks. Constable Craig England, Altoona, Pennsylvania, Blair County. I was called 28 times in the past couple days by constables in my area, knowing I'm coming to the meeting, wanting to know this year if there's going to be the booklets coming out for the older constables that don't get online to register for their courses.
Yes, sir.
And
We
when
have
they
them.
are- And when they're going to come available.
They were actually mailed out yesterday.
Great.
And that only goes out to the constables that currently have U.S. mail as their preferred correspondence method.
Okay.
Tracy, what was the number we had mailed out?
We had 475 printed. I think
It was less than 450, like maybe 447 or something like that were actually mailed out.
Okay. When I get back in my area, I'll call those 4 constables.
Yeah, and if they did not get a copy of it, have them call the office.
Have them call the
We'll make sure that they get a copy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Calendar starts after Thanksgiving, correct?
Yep, we will go live with the 2018 schedule online at 9 a.m. next Monday, the 20th.
Thank you.
So make sure you can log in before then.
All right. I'm a long time subscriber.
Any other comments?
I'd like to reintroduce myself to the board so they know who I am. I'm Craig Westover, and like I said, I got a call from the Senate and from the governor's office on Tuesday afternoon. I was confirmed as a constable to serve on the training board. And when I receive my commission and all that, we'll get that done as quick as possible. Tell you a little bit about who I am. I started the constable business full time in 1995. I'm out of Venango County, Northwest Pennsylvania, and that's been my full time endeavor, since 1995. Haven't had other occupations to carry me along the way. This has been a business that I started and been able to conduct over the 22-year period. I'm on board about the same time John came on board, and so the very first basic training class that we ran in Northwest Pennsylvania was at Allegheny College in Meadville, and that was sponsored through Mercyhurst at that time. In 2000, I started as an instructor for the board. I got certified, went through the instructor development program that was held here, and after doing that, I went out and got my NRA and also DT certification skills, and I was an instructor. I was appointed in 2000 also by Governor Ridge, and so I served a 3-year term here on a training board from 2000 to 2003. And since that time, I've been pretty much full-time constable, part-time instruction, doing instructor work, not only for now Penn State, but also at that time with Mercyhurst. And I did work for the counties, and also I'm an EMT instructor, and I also do instructor work for the University of Pittsburgh. I teach a semester class for them for defensive tactics. So this has been my involvement all these years. So I want to let you know I come into this thing with my eyes wide open, because as I look through the minutes of previous meetings over the years, it's funny how the issues really haven't changed. Where the same issues that John and I dealt with clear back in 2000 has revisited itself. And I am a constable that my major focus from here on out the rest of my life, I just was reelected to a 6-year term as a constable in November, is that we get a definition of what a constable can do. And that's been the struggle, because even as an instructor, when we go through those first 4 or 5 slides, we talk about training, however, your county may have different rules, or consult your court administrator, or, consult your local court. And so it's really tough with this curriculum program when you have different interpretations of rules and regs and fees and all that. And so that struggle continues, and for me, that's going to be my focus from here on out, is anything we can do to get an ear on the hill to get a clear definition of what a constable is, what he can do. I think we'll go light years towards getting the curriculum better, because it really has been kind of a patchwork according to the interpretation of the rules. And so that's sort of where my focus comes in. So I bring a lot of education to the board. I'm not domineering. I'm very much one of those persons that's a working person on the board. So I have no axe to grind. I'm here to help the program along. I want this thing to survive. I want to have a legacy. 6 years from now, when I'm 66, whether I decide to retire then or continue to work, I want to be able to lead this program better than what it was when I came in. And I want the constable legacy to continue. I want, this is something that I've devoted 22 years of my life into, and I want to make sure it survives and it flourishes, and hopefully, we keep this constable program going, for years to come. So thank you for your ear. I appreciate that, and I appreciate being able to get to work with the board.
Thank you. And you will be a welcome addition. with all your insight and to help people that aren't as familiar with the other occupations that occupy the board that aren't that familiar with what a constable does. Anyone else? Any other comments? Okay. What?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Good year. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I was, if I could, I just wanted to
Wow.
thank
Yes.
Constable Sokoloff for her time on the board, 2009 about, or
4.
Wow.
was it?
4 or 5?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think it was
Over
4
in
or
Dell,
5, yeah.
Okay,
Twice.
so she's been on the board a long time, and again, having Constable Sokoloff provide her input, as she said, what a constable does. The other thing too is having a constable from the eastern part of the state is very different than the western part of the state as far as how counties, utilize or deal with constables. So that has always been insightful. So I would thank her for her service to the board and to the program. So
Thank you.
thanks.
Well done, Julie.
12 years goes by like that, I
Well
gotta
done.
tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, now can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second?
Second. Aye.
Passed. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh,